Look at our little.
Our logo.
Yeah. All right.
Official now.
Yeah. So anyway, Marion Barry is my first comeback example. He smoked crack and got his job back. So I did some research on that. And in 1994, Marion Barry indeed smoked crack and got his job back and beat Republican candidate Carol Schwartz, who has served on Washington, D.C. City Council multiple times. She's run for mayor and lost 5 times. So poor Carol. Carol was the one Chris was talking about there. Smoked crack, got his job back. She must have been the smack person.
I mean, you think about how bad you got to be. You lost to a guy that openly smoked crack. Well, in office.
Yeah, he had his name. His name was out there. His name, but people knew him. Apparently, they didn't know Carol very well. So.
Well, and then you have the Toronto mayor that did the same thing.
Yeah,
what's his name?
Dan Ford.
Dan Ford.
Have you seen that documentary?
Yeah.
That guy is insane. That's so crazy that he was the most inappropriate things you've ever heard on a press. What do they call it? Like a press scrum. He would say the most inappropriate things ever.
Yeah. No.
Nuts.
Crazy. Well, in a political landscape, and that's what's so crazy about politics, is like Kwame Kilpatrick, could have ran from prison and probably would have won the election.
I taught at a school where Kwame sent his kids right before they weren't there when I was going there, but they went there right after I went there and stuff. Yeah. My next door neighbor used to call him Quame.
Quame.
I love that.
That is awesome. So what have you been watching in the last couple of weeks?
Well, Clint Kubiak is now the head coach of the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
His dad is the former quarterback, right? There's Clint
Kubiak. It's a Gary?
Gary Kubiak. Yeah. That's it. For the Broncos. He was the backup, I think. I get those guys mixed up. But was he the one who was the backup for John Elway?
Yeah, and did he coach with the Texans?
That sounds
familiar,
right?
Yeah. I don't think I'm making that up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Pistons. They've won 13. Well, earlier this year they won 13 games in a row, and they're 5.5 point game lead on the Knicks in the Eastern Conference. That's crazy considering they were 14-68 just 2 seasons ago.
Oh my God! And I have them. I have the team and I have a couple of the players listed as far as the season over season improvement. So get into that. And I've been watching Michigan State basketball, and that was the inspiration of this episode, is watching Jeremy Fears. He had a 17-point, 17 assist game. And then he had the game against Rutgers, but it's a 17-point, 17 assist game. Yeah. And it's one of those things I didn't expect this kind of this big of a jump from him.
Yeah.
He was such an offensive hole last year. To watch him now, see his confidence. That's a pretty crazy jump.
Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble against Michigan, I noticed. He was a lot of his shots were coming up short, and but his team was like, "Well, I can't shoot." And they kept passing to him, and he was just like, "What do I do?" So he started driving to the basket and getting fouled, and of course he makes all his free throws. He's like a 90% free throw shooter. But yeah, he's definitely the leader of the team, probably the most talented guy on the team. Well,
and you look last year he was a 73%.
Really?
This year he's at 90.
That's a good comeback stat.
That's a good comeback stat. Last year for points, he was 7.2 points a game. This year he's 14.9.
Wow.
So double the points. Mm-hmm. Assists went from 5.4 to 8.8.
Wow. Yeah, he's way up. I remember seeing nationally for assists per game. He's way up.
He's got to be top 5
in assists. Yeah, he's the ringleader. He's like. A lot of Izzo teams have really good floor generals, with Mateen and James Winston and our buddy Appling and poor Appling, but and then all those guys. The guy from Orchard Lake, the other guy from Orchard Lake St. Mary,
Kalen Lucas,
yep.
Kalen Lucas, Cassius Winston,
yep.
Yeah. Well, so and Izzo doesn't throw compliments around lightly. And I remember him last year saying that Jeremy Fears was the most like Mateen Cleaves that he's ever had.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, I just don't see it. I'm like, we must be seeing some, but now I see it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a better comparison would be like, I don't know. Watching him sort of reminds me of Jameis. I'm saying Jameis.
I'm like Jameis. I'm like,
I think I said that before. Cassius Winston.
Cassius Winston. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, his mannerisms, the way he dribbles, just sort of reminds me of where Mateen was. I don't know. Like when I think of Mateen, I just think of him as more like a ball hawk and like a better defender and just so much stronger. And like,
Jeremy Fears is a little bit smaller than Mateen, but I do feel like he has that stronger, you know, he's got the build.
Thick, yeah.
He's thick. He's muscle. He does a lot of driving. Him and Mateen both were weak 3-point shooters. I think Cassius was a better 3-point shooter.
Yeah, like Mateen, he didn't look very smooth when he was shooting it. Like I think this year's guy, you know, he's better. Fears is better shooting, looks better, looks smoother, but Mateen might have like better. But Fears is a good leader as well. Have you ever noticed with Fears? Watch him next time. He is handsy.
Yes.
He'll put his hand, like when he's talking to the refs, he's got his hand. It just seems kind of bizarre to me, whatever. But I don't know. I'm always like, I wouldn't be touching the refs on their shoulders and stuff. I don't know. He likes to like put his hands on people. I noticed that.
In the NBA, they don't let you do that. I noticed that the other day. He put his hands on the ref. I'm like, man, in the NBA, they'd call you for a tech for that all day.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's just talking to him. It just seems sort of, I don't know, too comfortable. I wouldn't.
Izzo the other day in the Michigan game, he was losing his shit, and he was like in the ref's face. He kept on touching the ref. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get kicked out of the game.
Yeah, you can't touch him when you're mad. Like Jeremy Fears is just touching him while he's talking to him. You definitely shouldn't be touching him when you're upset. You're gonna accidentally hurt him, or accidentally.
I think the refs give Izzo so much leeway. There's no, like, if he's in the NBA, there's no way he gets away with it.
I love watching the refs listen. He's screaming, and they're just like, what? And then they like sort of ask a question. They're just very calm when they talk to him. He's just losing it. And they're just like, well, what do you mean by that? Oh, you mean back over? And then they're pointing, well, over there? And then they're like, no, there wasn't a foul there. There was a foul there, but there wasn't a foul there and stuff.
I know. I love it when you can see them explaining. Like, they're truly like, yeah, I hear your point.
Like, you see that in the NFL, too, with NFL coaches when they're talking to the refs. And I've noticed, no one really talks about this. I haven't heard, but it seems like there's in the playoffs, there was like a referee that's not one of the refs in the game, but an extra ref just standing by each coach, like to help them like understand what's going on in the game, which is, I think, is a great idea. Have you noticed that? There's like a ref just like standing by the coach all the time. In refs, I've noted like the main guy, like a referee, like one of the main best officials that isn't doing that game. They're working the game just next to the coach. Is not part of the game. It's not part of the regular referee staff for that game. Just like extra ones, which I think is a great idea because they're probably always wondering what the hell's going on. And now they have a guy that sort of explain it. I'm sure they're listening. They have headphones on or whatever, listening to what the call is or something.
They're kind of like translating it.
Yeah. Like, okay, this is what's going on. You know, it's holding on them or whatever, you know.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, it's like talking about the Pistons, you know, then we talked about it before we started talking and getting into the episode, but like that 2023, 2024, they won 14 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 14-68.
I went to a game that year.
I did too. I watched almost
Utah
every single game.
Jazz. Oh, I know. You're a big Pistons guy.
Yeah, no. So, and that's the thing. I'm kind of that homer. I'm a Michigan State guy, Pistons, Lions, Tigers, and I've watched those teams through the worst of times. I've watched them through the best of times. And so I'm that fan. Like, you know, when the Lions are winning and all that stuff, like we've earned this.
Yeah.
Like, sticking out some of the, those Pistons games were rough. By the end of the season, I stopped watching because there were guys on the team that weren't even going to, you know, they were all G League guys because they pulled Cade and stuff were injured, and it was a rough season.
Yeah. One thing that I have trouble with the Pistons game is now, like I didn't notice this up until when I went to that game in the 23-24 season, is that they play music every single second. There's loud music during the game. Then they play music at timeouts. Then they play music at the end of every period. Every single moment, there's music, very loud, like kind of music being played, except for when they're shooting free throws. And I think that's about it. And then they'll like have a super loud announcer guy announcing whatever little game they're going to, the little contest with a fan or whatever during the game. Now that's loud.
Yeah.
It's just so loud. And I was way up in the upper deck and I couldn't handle it. And I actually went down and talked to like member services lady. And I said, this is crazy, this loud music. I'm never going to come to a Pistons game again because of this loud music anymore. And she's like, she doesn't care, but whatever. She was nice about it.
She's like, great.
Old man. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I haven't heard anybody else talk about that, but that's super loud at Pistons games. And I'm not going to go back until they stop doing all that loud banging insa music all the time.
You've heard it now, Pistons. You've lost a fan until you figure out the noise.
Oh my God. Just like, I totally get it, but not during the game. And yesterday I was listening to a game and I could hear it. I'm trying to listen to Mark Champion and Rick Mahorn, and I can't even hardly hear them because I hear the insa in the back.
Even on TV, and I'm wondering, like, like they're home and you're playing that loud music when they're on offense. You'd think you'd play it when the other team was on offense.
Yeah, I know.
To like be distracting,
right? And somehow that's okay, but like there's no other sport where they do that. Like there's no, like in baseball, you have to stop the music right before the guy comes up to bat. In football, there's the bands play up until they're about to snap the ball. But hockey, it's never being music going on like when they're during the game.
Now, I will say I've played basketball for years without any sound. Mm-hmm. And then one time somebody brings a speaker. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, you can't picture playing basketball without there being music playing.
You like the music when you're playing.
When I'm playing. Mm-hmm. So I got Saturday mornings, Tuesday nights, somebody brings a speaker. And when they don't, when the speaker's not there, the guy that brings the speaker on Tuesdays has hurt his knee, and so he's been out the last 3 weeks, and it's like just quiet, and it's so weird.
You got to go borrow the speaker from his house.
I gotta go borrow.
You got to go ask for it.
Well, it's so funny because I asked for a speaker for Christmas, and then I'm like, oh, never mind, I don't really need one because somebody's always bringing one, and then he gets hurt.
Oh man, bummer. All right, Jason, my very first comeback is the 19. Now, recency bias always sort of bothers me with things like this because people make lists online, all these different lists, the biggest comebacks, the biggest whatever, and it's all like the greatest plays in NFL history, and every single greatest play in NFL history happened from 2007 until now. Well, no. There was 75 years before that or whatever, where there was all kinds of great plays too, but no one ever thinks about that and stuff. So what's the greatest season over season improvement in Major League Baseball history? It's the 1903 New York Giants won 48 games. I'm sorry. The 2003 New York Giants went from winning 48 games in 1902 to 84 games in 03. So from 02 to 03, they improved 58, 68, 78, 36. They had a 36 game improvement. That's incredible. That's the most there's ever happened. So we're taking calls on anyone who remembers the 1903 New York baseball Giants. Call in now. Jamie will be screening your calls. Now the 03 Giants featured Christy Mathewson, who ended up being a Hall of Fame pitcher, Roger Bresnahan, which was a Hall of Fame catcher, and Iron Joe McGinnity, who I think was a Hall of Famer. He was known because he would like pitch these both ends of a doubleheader and all this crazy stuff. He was a little bit older on that team, but he was still like they had two of the best pitchers. So I tried to figure out, well, why were they so bad and then they're so good? Because a lot of those guys were on the same team. And what happened was the 02 team that was really bad went through three managers. And the last manager they fell upon was Hall of Fame pitcher or manager John McGraw.
Wow.
He managed 76 games in that 02 season, following George Smith, who went 5-27. He was their manager. He was horrible. And then they brought in John McGraw, and he went 25-38 and 2. They tied 2 games.
Wow.
I don't know how there was ties, but they did some ties there. So yeah, part of the problem was George Smith, the guy who went like 5 and 27. He was also their second baseman, so he's trying to manage and play second base at the same time.
What?
Can be a little tricky. Yeah, that happened a lot back then.
Yeah.
They would like have player managers. I'm like, why don't you just get somebody? I don't even. There's so much weird stuff about way back in the day that I'm like, why did they do it that way? Like,
Yeah.
So, but they had, like I said, 21. Christy Mathewson was 21 years old. He had a 1.14 WHIP. That's pretty good. He only gave up 1.14 walks plus hits per innings pitched.
It's because I didn't even have that stat back then.
No, but you can just look at.
You can look it up. Yeah.
How many walks? Right, yeah. So yeah, pitching was not the problem at all. McGinnity had 2.06 earned run average. So that was not the issue. The issue, though, which this is kind of interesting, they committed 336 errors. That 0-2 team.
Whoa.
Which wasn't even the worst.
Was he all at second base?
The second manager. I'm sure he had a lot. That was the second worst. The worst, the Baltimore Orioles that year had 357 errors.
God.
So just to put that in perspective, the worst in this year, the team with the most errors this year had 116. 116.
No way you're hitting more than 100.
Yeah, 116 errors. Back then, they had over twice that. They used to make all kinds of errors because the fields were terrible. Their gloves were terrible. They didn't practice. Like, they all had to work when they weren't playing baseball. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, even like thinking about that 02, that 03, like they had jobs. It's not like they were making the money they're making now.
Yeah, I know. And the crazy thing is they never missed any games. That's another weird thing about old timey stuff is that you look at, if you go like somebody's, they'll like play 154, 154, 154, 100. They never missed any games. It's like, you guys never got sick or hurt ever? And now
No, they just played through it.
Look at LeBron. There's like 82, 37, 12, 82, 37, like that. Like, what?
That player management stage of the NBA just drove me crazy.
Yeah. Load management. They didn't have load management in 1903. So
no, they didn't.
So anyway, that's my first one was the 1903 great improvement from the 02 New York Giants. What else?
I love it because I felt like you were probably going to pull out some old teams.
Old ones.
We were going to balance.
03 was the first year, coincidentally enough, they had a World Series. They had a World Series that year. They didn't. The Giants didn't make it. The Pittsburgh Pirates represented the National League that year in the very first ever World Series that went 8 games. It was supposed to be a 9-game series, so you had to win 5. So Cy Young, 36-year-old Cy Young, pitched for the Boston Americans, which was like the Red Sox, and he won a couple games, and they won the series 5-3.
Cy Young.
Yep.
That's so crazy.
Yep. All right, what's yours? What's one of yours?
Okay. So sticking with baseball, and again, I'm a homer guy a lot of times, and so I the ones that kind of stuck out right in my head. JD Martinez.
Oh yeah.
From 13 to 14, he got cut from the Houston Astros, who lost 111 games the year before.
This is before he was with the Tigers?
Yeah, he got cut in 2013 by the Astros in the offseason, and the Tigers signed him as a free agent, a roster invitee. Mm-hmm. I remember he was like one of the last guys to end up making the team. Like, he had to battle it out in spring training, and he had did a swing overhaul. Like, he had worked with some guy, worked on his swing. He went from that year he got cut by the Astros, 2013. He had a 250 average, 7 home runs, 36 RBIs, an OPS of 650. His
good.
slug was 678. His WAR, wins above replacement, was
his slugging was 678.
378.
378. Okay.
378.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And his WAR was negative 0.6.
Wow.
His first year at the Tigers in 14, he hit 315.
Jeez.
So that's, 75-point average.
That's awesome.
Or improvement. He went from 7 home runs to 23 home runs, 36 RBIs to 76. His OPS went from 650 to 912.
That's all. Oh my gosh.
His slugging went from 678 to 553, and his WAR went from -0.6 to 4.2.
Yeah, he made a lot of money that year, man.
He made a lot of money.
Like, he ended up being a very good player for many. I think he's still playing. Yeah,
I think he is still playing. He has. Man. Yeah, made a lot of money. Got signed by the Red Sox. I think we traded him to the Red Sox.
I remember going to a game and he was out for a long time, and then I just so happened to be going to a Tiger game one time, and he came back, and he was like, "Oh, this biggest cheering and everything for him," because he came back that game for something. He was out injured for a long time. He was a crowd favorite.
Yeah,
he was awesome. JD, and I think his first name was Julio, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it really? I never knew what JD stood for.
I don't know.
That's a good one to answer.
You can put the answer in the comments. What's J stand for?
What does JD stand for? Put it in the comments. That's awesome.
All right, I got a personal, a person kind of like that, but of course mine is really old. Mine's from the Detroit Tigers had a first baseman named George Burns, not to be mistaken for the actor George Burns.
Yeah,
the guy who lived to be 100 with the cigar. Not that guy. This is a different baseball player named George Burns. Played first base for the Tigers. After he left, so he was with the Tigers. He was batting .226 in 1917. They trade him to the Philadelphia A's. He bats .352 the next year. So you went from 226 to 350. I'm like, is that?
How do you even do that?
I saw it, and I'm like, there's no way. And I look at him, and it's true. He didn't have and he had more plate appearances and stuff. Like, he played more.
He had more
when he was 352 than when he was batting 226. It's like he must have gotten hurt or whatever that year. So just with the Tigers, horrible. Philadelphia A's batted 352. His WAR, you're talking about WAR, he went from 0.2 to 5.9 WAR.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's not all roses in 2018. His fielding went down. He went from committing only 12 errors in 1917 to 26. He doubled his errors. As a first baseman, he committed 26 errors as a first baseman in 1918. But, I mean, I think he made up for it with his 352 batting average.
And they just passed out errors like popsicles back then,
that's
too.
True.
Like,
yeah, who knows?
At 26, he's probably a gold glover like George Blanda.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, there was a ton of errors back then. I mean, there were some fielding percentages that were like 89, whatever, like 0.893 and stuff, like really bad. Now nobody has it. Like the lowest you'll see is like 95%. Is like the worst fielding percentage.
They're lower than 100. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're committing a lot of errors.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm. That was the old days, man. The good old days, World War I.
All right, I've got two in two different sports, and this is like coming out of nowhere, specifically because they were on drugs like Marion Barry. Josh Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so Josh Hamilton literally went from being crackhead, like, to very first. He went like he was drafted. He was like he was like the natural, right? He was like this hyped kid, never drank, never did drugs. Was like this clean cut kid, all the way through the minor leagues. Never drank ever, and then got injured while he was in the minor leagues. Got bored, started drinking. The next thing you know, guy smoking crack, like addicted to drugs, lost. I think they say he lost like 120 pounds, was like super skinny. Like his wife found him in this trailer park, all cracked out, all this kind of stuff. And exactly a year from that time, he was making his MLB debut. His first year, he only played like, I want to say he played 60 games his first year. So he went from single A ball, being a crackhead, straight to making his MLB debut, hitting 292. He hit 292 that first year in 2007. He had like 7 home runs, 32 RBIs. But then the next year, he hit 304. He had 32 home runs. He led the league with 130 RBIs, was an all-star. I think he won the MVP the second year. First full season. Awesome. First full season of his career.
Good for him. And he's about a little younger than us.
Yeah.
in terms of that. So
Unfortunately, he fell off the wagon. I think he's a crackhead again.
Oh, is he? Because he only played 9 years. He had a great year in 2010. He had an 8.7 WAR. He batted 359. He batted 359. Now that's something.
That's something.
In 09, he was batted 268. Then he batted 359 the next year in 2000. So that's unbelievable. Going, what would that be? 91 points better.
That year in 2008, he won the home run derby. He hit 28 home runs in the first inning of the home run derby. 28 home runs in one inning.
I wonder if that's a record.
It is.
In what year?
It's 2008.
It was at Comerica Park in somewhere in there.
Man, if he hit 28 home runs out of Comerica, I don't think it was.
I don't think that was the year, but it was 05 or so. But he had 130 RBIs that year.
Yeah.
In 08. So, yeah. And then he only played 9 years. He was 34 and he retired. He didn't start going until he was 26 in the big leagues. But kudos to Josh. That's awesome. From Raleigh, North Carolina.
And then this one is an NBA guy, and it didn't turn out to be such a great story, but he's one of the first guys I thought of when I thought of like coming out of nowhere and making a huge improvement was Richard Dumas. Remember Richard Dumas?
Yeah, with the Suns, real skinny. Yeah.
Skinny. I mean, he that's surprising. I thought he played more games than this, but he only played like 60 games. But he averaged 15.8 points his rookie season, 4.6 rebounds. In game 5 of the NBA Finals, he lit up Scottie Pippen for 25 points.
Nice.
But literally the next year was suspended because he kept doing drugs and never really, like, he had a couple more years, never averaged over double figures again. But that 1 year was just insane. And I remember how good the Pistons almost traded Dennis Rodman for him. I remember, like, he was one of the guys they were talking about trading, and luckily they never did. They would have had William Bedford and Richard.
That year he was good was the 92-93 season. I think they had Charles Barkley where they were kind of.
They made the finals.
Dan Marley, I think, was on that team later in his career. Oh, Mark West, maybe. Remember big Mark West?
Yeah.
He might have been on that team too.
He played for the Pistons for a second too, Mark West.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Yeah, that's Richard Dumas.
Richard Dumas.
He went to Oklahoma State. Interesting.
And he was one of those guys, like, now a guy like that would never be drafted. Like, he was constantly getting in trouble in college for drugs, but the Suns, like, saw his talent and drafted him anyways. Nowadays, those guys don't typically get drafted or stick around for a couple years.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so so for football, I was wondering what's the best comeback from 1 year to the next, the biggest improvement. The 1999 St. Louis Rams were 4-12. The next year, they went 13-3 and won the Super Bowl after going 4-12 the previous year. Of course, that was the greatest show on turf. So I was like, well, why did this happen? What caused them to have such improvement? And sadly, a lot of it has to do with changing quarterback. It went from, and the reason why it's sad is because the 99, the team went 4-12. Their quarterback was Michigan State's own Tony Banks.
Tony Banks, oh my God,
who was great. I love Tony Banks.
Yeah,
number 12. But they brought in a guy who was famously bragging groceries.
So
Kurt Warner.
They actually brought in Trent Green, who was supposed to be like he was supposed to be great. They expected the Rams to be good, and then he got hurt, and they turned the quarterback room over to the grocery bagger, who ended up being a Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner.
You know where Trent Green went to college? This is sort of topical. Indiana. He was a quarterback at Indiana.
I know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that was the biggest thing. They got lightning in a bottle with Kurt Warner, who was backing up Brett Favre with the Green Bay Packers before that. So let's see here. He was 28 years old. He was just kind of almost pretty much a rookie that year. He averaged 272 yards per game passing, 41 touchdown passes. And you know what? That's weird or crazy about that is he was even better in 2000. And I think that's when the Ravens won it all that year.
Yeah.
But so they had this Rams offense. the greatest show on turf. They had Marshall Faulk, who's a Hall of Famer, as running back. Isaac Bruce.
I was going to call him Bruce Irvin. Isaac Bruce. Yeah,
and Torrey Holt, rookie Torrey Holt. As receivers. The Hall of Fame tackle Orlando Pace. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Like, how are they not better?
How were they bad the year before?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think all those guys were on it except for Torrey Holt were on the 99 team.
What year was Pace drafted?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think he was well into his career at that point, I think, because I don't really think he was older than us. Okay, so weird thing is this one wasn't a coach change. Dick Vermeil was the coach of the 99 team. Was he the coach? I was wondering if he was. And the 98 and the 99 team. But here's the big difference. Well, we're talking about how coaching makes a difference. Their offensive coordinator in 99 was Jerry Rome, whoever that is, and they changed to Mike Martz, who went on to be a really good head coach. So with the Jerry and Tony show in 99, they were 4-12, and they brought in Mike Martz and Kurt Warner, and then they won the Super Bowl.
Mike Martz, who famously he came to the Lions and was a head coach or offensive coordinator for the Lions. So like this is my funny story about Mike Martz. Mm-hmm. I told you about Charles Rogers, like seeing him seeing Charles Rogers, who was playing for the Lions at the time, in Applebee's on Hill Road in Flint. So me and my friend Brock,
Mr. Rogers.
Well, he had like 5 baby mamas he had to like feed, and when he was meeting one of his baby mamas there, and I guess was a routine for him as he met this baby mama.
I don't remember this story at all.
Okay. So me and my friend Brock are sitting at Applebee's, and it was the year that Mike Martz became the offensive coordinator. And the Lions had a lot of promise. They had Joey Harrington, Charles Rogers, Roy Williams. They had just drafted Mike Williams, I believe. All of that turned out to be a dumpster fire. Yeah. But back then, we're thinking we got Mike Martz, we got Charles Rogers. We should have a pretty good team. It should be the greatest show on turf, almost, right? And so my friend Brock comes back he went to the bathroom, and he comes back and he's like, "Hey, bro, I think Charles Rogers is in the bathroom." I was like, "No, he's not." And he's like, "Go check it out. Go check it out." So I go into the bathroom, and sure enough, Charles Rogers is standing at the urinal. So I go to the bathroom. I'm standing there. Charles turns around. I go to the sink. I'm washing my hands, and I roll up the paper towel, and I throw it into the basket, and I miss. And Charles Rogers picked it up and put it back in. Got my assist.
That's hilarious.
Got my assist and dunked it in. And I was like, "Thanks a lot." And he was like, "Yeah, no, super nice guy." And so I go out. I confirmed my friend Brock. I'm like, "That was definitely Charles Rogers." He picked up my garbage. Super cool. So the waiter comes to our table, and he's like, "Did you see your guy Charles Rogers?" And he's like, we're talking about it. He's like, "Yeah, he meets his baby's mama here every once in a while, like every other Sunday or something like that. They do their visitation or whatever." And so Charles had went outside to meet up with his baby mama, comes back in. My friend Brock flags him down, pulls him over, brings him to our table. It's like, hey, Charles. And Charles comes over, and he's like, "Hey," he was like, "Man, are you ready for the season?" And Charles is like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Yeah, we're big fans." And he was like, "Mike Martz this year." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "How's it going?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's going pretty good." Like, he was being, cordial and nice. And he goes to walk away, and my friend Brock goes, "Hey, Charles." He's like, "What?" And he's like, "Stop smoking the weed this year. We really need you."
Oh my God.
Charles was so pissed off. He was entertaining us, and then he got mad. But that was just my friend Brock. But that was that was a funny story. But he was like, we have Mike Martz. Let's bring it in. So
yeah, and then Charles passed away.
Yeah.
When he was only 38.
Only 38.
I think he had cancer or something like that, which is crazy.
Really sad story, man. I mean, super great athlete.
He was a guy that I remember the first time I heard him was my roommate in college. My junior year was from Bay City Central, and he was talking all about this amazing receiver that Michigan State's going to get next year, Charles Rogers. And I remember that was the first time I ever heard him. And he made that great catch against, I think it was Notre Dame in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Which was a big play. He was just so talented. He was a very high draft pick for the Lions. And yeah.
Oh,
So
I mean, he went from, I remember he ran like a 4.2 40. He was super fast. But then I remember, like, after the Lions cut him, he was trying out for teams, and they were talking about how he was running more like a 5, 5, and like you just said, was in super bad shape.
Oh, really? Yeah, so he played at Michigan State from 01 to 02. So yeah, that was after. So this is, I heard of him in 99, 2000, like a couple years before, when he was still in high school, that he was just supposed to be like this amazing. And he was, man. He was great in college and went pro after. Wait, I think he sat out his freshman year in 2000 at Michigan State, and then he started playing his sophomore in 2001, if I remember right. But yeah, and then
They had a good team, though. They had T.J. Duckett, Jeff Smoker, Charles Rogers.
that 01 team.
That 01 team.
That beat Michigan at the last second.
Yeah,
and everyone
TJ
talks about how T.J. Duckett caught it in the end zone. And the clock was a little shaky. And did they start the clock?
Yeah.
Sparty, what do they call him? What they call the guy who was the clock operator? They called him Sparty something or other. might have been a little home cooking because it was a home game that year.
And that's fine. We needed all the luck we could get in any of those years. So.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the 99 Rams, they were 4-12 that previous season, went 13-3 and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
So it wasn't just even a record turnaround. They won it all.
Yeah. The Rams, and then have they done a whole lot? I mean, they won the Super Bowl with many years later with
Stafford.
Mr. Stafford. Yeah.
They actually just went to the conference. They have the NFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been good, but in basketball around that same time, 96-97 Spurs, they went from 20 and 62 to 56 and 26 and winning the championship.
Wow. Tim Duncan
was drafted.
Okay.
So they ended up, David Robinson was injured the year before. So they were missing their best player. Sean Elliott played for the Pistons that year. He signed back with the Spurs the next year. They got David Robinson back, and they got the number 1 pick in the draft and got Tim Duncan.
Yeah. So this is one of those years where it was David Robinson and Tim Duncan on the same team. Did they play together?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Now I got a real quick story about Sean Elliott. Oh my God. I was listening to the radio and somebody was talking about how Sean Elliott got traded to the Pistons or whatever. And they kept saying Sean Higgins over and over and over. And the radio host didn't correct him and he didn't realize that it's not Sean Higgins. Sean Higgins played at Michigan. He was sort of whatever. He wasn't that great. Sean Elliott was a very good player. And he kept saying Sean Higgins. I was just like, it's Elliott. I'm yelling at the house, Elliott.
Saying it
I was
out
like
loud.
E.T.
That one went over my head. You had to explain it, right? That was really good.
So the 07-08 team was, they went 56 and 26 for the Spurs.
Yeah. Well, so Greg Popovich is just legend.
Was that his first year?
Let's see. That's a good question.
Previous season. No, it wasn't. He's been there. He's not there anymore, is he?
I think he's medically retired now.
He was their coach for like a bajillion years. Old Pop. Yeah.
And then that started off. They were a dynasty. They were a dynasty still, and now they're kind of back with
the tall guy,
Wemby,
the French guy. Yeah. Yeah, he was their coach up until last year when he was 76 years old.
And the only reason he's not is because he had a stroke or a heart attack or something.
Yeah, he was their coach from our senior year of high school up until last year.
Wow. With the winning record, I mean.
That's got to be a record or something. Yeah, like the total 628 was his total win-loss. I mean, God, what a guy. He was pretty fun too. He had some good interviews with the sideline reporters too. He's kind of known for some of his little chats he would have. His dry humor. So yeah. All right, I got one. Let's see here. Oh, the Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. Sometimes improvements happen just because they throw money at players. That helps sometimes. So the 07-0, about the same time, the 07-08 Boston Celtics went from 24-58 to 66-16 in one season.
Yep.
So they got 42 games better. 42. That's better than the 2000 or the 1903 New York Giants, I think.
Concerning they're playing less games too. That's insane. They do. They're number one. They sit number one at sports for the biggest turnaround.
Because so the earlier, the team that didn't do as good had Paul Pierce. Their starting lineup was Paul Pierce, Al Jefferson, Delonte West, Ryan Gomes, I think that's how you say it, and Rajon Rondo. And then they had Wally Zerbiak, remember Zerbs? And Kendrick Perkins, who's on ESPN all the time now, coming off the bench. And then the next team had Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, who was Defensive Player of the Year that year, Paul Pierce, Kendrick Perkins was a starter, and Rajon Rondo, and they were just unbelievable.
And Rondo was a rookie that year?
No, I don't think so. But getting Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, two future Hall of Famers. Doc Rivers was coach both teams. Danny Ainge was the general manager for both teams. But yeah, the 07-08 team, they started out 29-3. They were 29-3 to start out.
Wait, Rondo was a rookie in 06-07, so the year before.
Before that, yeah.
I mean, Doc Rivers is still getting jobs because of that year.
Yeah, really.
People still think he's a great coach because of that year. He just had the players.
Yeah. So they scored 5 more points a game, and they gave up. This is the crazy thing. They gave up 9 less points per game. Their defense got that much better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you had Garnett.
You had Garnett and Ray Allen, 2 Hall of Famers. I mean, I don't know I wonder if that's ever happened before, where a team has added in the NBA, added 2 Hall of Famers. This probably happened in baseball. We have a lot of players, but basketball is so player specific. Like you can change everything with just 1 or 2 players, because one player, that's 20% of the guys out on the court, you know?
Well, you look at the Heat did it a couple years later with LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade.
Oh, the Heat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And really, so like you talked about buying the players or throwing money at players. Honestly, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often where it turns a team around. You look at it worked for the Heat with LeBron, it worked for the Celtics, but then you look at how many times it crashed, like the Houston Rockets when they signed Barkley and Pippen, and they had Hakeem. They had the big 3 there. There are so many teams that try to do the big 3, and it just kind of falls apart.
Or the Yankees, when was the last time they were in the World, or they won a World Series? It's been a long time.
And they're always buying the best player.
Yeah, and the Mets, kind of the same deal. They can afford everything because of their TV deals and stuff, and then they don't really.
I'm such a fan of like the way the Pistons did it, or the way watching the line, watching the development, because like overnight, and talking about that Pistons that 30 win improvement, that was all. I mean, you signed a couple of veterans, like so you look at they got Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, not world changers. It adds some steady veteran presence, some outside shooting. There was a ginormous jump with Cade Cunningham. I mean, I have it. Cade Cunningham, literally from...
Oh, like his... Statistically, yeah.
So 23-24 when they won the 14 games. He averaged 22.7 points.
And he was hurt a lot of that.
And he was hurt. He played most of the season that year. He sat out at the end of the year. The year before that, he only played 12 games. But this 23-24, he averaged 22.7 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. And so you look at like the numbers from 24-25 don't seem like it's not the biggest jump in the world, but going from 22.7 to 26.1, he had 6.1 rebounds, so 1.6% improvement. And then
he shot better from the field.
He was better from the field.
Instead of 44.9, he was 46.9, which is that's a pretty good jump.
You look at it, it's like it's a pretty good jump.
Yeah.
But they're not like world changers. I think the big thing is just growing into his leadership. And I think right now, if you look at the Pistons, like Cade is really, he's formed their culture. You look at that young team, and then you look at like Jalen Duren this year. I think when you got a guy like Cade, that's a superstar that's constantly putting that work in, and then you got that young base of guys that like they drafted well, they look for the right type of guy, and I think they've blended well. So then Jalen Duren this year went from 11.8 points last year to 18. This is current season, so but his this is so the point swing is big. Rebounds, he's about the same. What is major is his defense. Last year in the playoffs, like he sat on the bench and couldn't guard Karl Anthony Towns. We didn't have an answer. We didn't have an answer. We had Tobias Harris guarding Karl Anthony Towns last year in the playoffs because Jalen Duren was so bad at defense. And this year he is the number one pick and roll defender in the NBA. He has 2 combos where him and Asar Thompson are the number one duo in pick and roll defense in the NBA, and then him and Cade are number 3 in the NBA.
That's an interesting stat that they even keep that. Like how that'd be hard to like do that. Yeah. And the thing, Cade is only 24.
Yeah.
And Jalen Duren just turned 23.
22. Is he 22? Yeah.
He's only 22.
22 years old.
And this is his 4th year on the team, and he's only 22 because he started in his, some of the year he was 18 because his birthday's November 18th. So he started out as 18, then he turns 19.
So he skipped his senior year of high school and played his actual senior year of high school as a freshman at Memphis. Right. And so really he came out, his first year in the NBA would have been his freshman year.
Right. So let's see here. He should have graduated high school in 22, really.
Yeah.
And he probably graduated high school in 21. So then 21, 22, he was at Memphis with Anthony Hardaway. Was he the coach?
Anthony Hardaway is the coach. Rasheed Wallace was the coach there.
Oh, really?
And then he played with Amani Bates. Amani Bates also skipped his senior year. Amani didn't fare so well. There's some maturity issues there, and like he had some drama with team members.
Really, I saw him play against Howell. He played Howell when he was at Ypsilanti Lincoln at Breslin Center. This was 18-19 school year. Howell went to the Final Four miraculously, and Ypsilanti. He just kept shooting threes from the top of the key. He would just dribble down. He was like 6'8", and just. And I remember thinking, well, he's not going to make. He was making them. It was like how. So they had no chance because he was just like making all his shots. It was just like, well, there's nothing we can do.
Unfortunately, his game never expanded from that. That's still what he's doing now in the G League. Like that's why he's like he'll just pull up and shoot a long 3.
Yeah. He very a finesse player would be a nice way to put it.
He was supposed to be like the next LeBron.
That year he was a freshman in high school.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
That's another one where parents come in and like his dad literally formed a school just to like coach him, like literally built a school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they had another kid that went to
Jaden Akins.
Oh, did he go to that school?
So Akins played half the year with Bates on that school that team that his dad formed. I can't remember. Was it Ypsilanti Prep?
His sophomore year.
I think it was called Ypsilanti Prep or something like that.
Yeah.
And Akins played, but he only played for half the year, and then he transferred out. So he obviously didn't get along with the coaching and stuff like that. And then Amani switched his commitment from Michigan State to wherever, Memphis.
To Memphis, yeah. Because I know Jaden Akins played at Farmington High School for a bit, I thought.
Yeah, he did.
And then so that must have been after that.
He went to Farmington right after. I think he was there at Farmington before, and then he...
Okay, then went back?
Yeah. There was a big fallout, whatever it was. And I think when you go to a prep school like that, you can then just transfer back and with no problem.
Okay, so this is what Wikipedia. Anybody can change Wikipedia however they want, so you know it's right. That's a Michael Scott quote. So it says he went to Ypsilanti Prep. Okay, these are his high schools: Ypsilanti Prep, Sunrise Christian Academy in Wichita, Kansas. In Farmington High, they said, yeah. So
did he play Farmington last, or?
Well, it lists Farmington as first.
Okay.
Then Ypsilanti Prep, then Sunrise in Wichita, but it doesn't say the year, so I don't know if that's exactly the right order.
Imagine just transferring to Wichita as a high school kid.
I wonder what was down there. So that is a good one. Okay, so now here's one. The 2015 University of Central Florida. And that's how they say it, University of Central Florida. Anyway, their coach was the famous resume embellisher George O'Leary. Have you heard of
I
this?
remember George O'Leary was the Vikings. He got hired by the Vikings? Or Notre Dame.
Yes, Notre Dame.
Yep.
And he resigned 5 days later because he said he earned his master's degree in education from NYU Stony Brook. There is no such thing as NYU Stony Brook. That's not a school. There's NYU and there's Stony Brook, but it's not NYU Stony Brook. He also said he's a 3-year letter winner playing football at the University of New Hampshire. He didn't play football there. Oops. So anyway, he had that on his resume for 20 years and got away with it.
Yeah.
He coached all over the place, got all these things.
And then got his dream job at Notre Dame.
Yeah, and then
they checked on him.
And they didn't do any of that. They used ChatGPT and they realized that stuff didn't happen.
That's the thing is you could get away with that kind of stuff then, and you can't now. There's no way.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
no way you could get away with that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen? There's a show on Hulu right now called Chad Powers. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny
I've
actually.
heard of
It's
it.
like this college quarterback that's kind of a fuck up quarterback. Like he like he's about to win the national championship in the first episode, and he fumbles, he drops the ball before the end zone, and it's like a disaster. He constantly makes these poor decisions, and he decides to go back to college because of NIL and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets like makeup and stuff like that, and becomes this guy named Chad Powers. And he looks completely different. There's a reason why I was saying that. Because like the whole entire time I'm like, there's no way he can get away with this. There's no way. People would be like, who's this guy that's all of a sudden lighting up college football? You'd have his friends and his family, you'd be interviewing, and you'd find him on social media. There's no way to do that now. There's no way you could just come out of nowhere.
Does it take place now?
Yeah.
So it's very unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic. It's funny. It's funny, but there's no way
that would really happen.
that there's this guy that's like blowing up and nobody knows who he is.
So what happened with 2015 Central Florida Knights? They went 0-5 that year in 2015, but then then UCF started that season. Well, anyway, UCF started 0-6, and then part of the reason was because George O'Leary was also the athletic director. He was the interim athletic director. So he's trying to do both jobs. So then he quits that job I'm just going to be the head coach. Well, that didn't work either because they lost the rest of the games too. So they went 0-12. So then the next year rolls around and they brought in Scott Frost, the former Nebraska quarterback, and they went 6-7. All right, we're getting a little better. They played in the very prestigious Cure Bowl in Orlando, and they changed quarterbacks. And they had a couple good NFL players. And then 2017 rolls around. They went undefeated. So in 2015, they were 0-12. 2017, they went undefeated. They beat number 7 Auburn Tigers in the Peach Bowl. And that Auburn team had Stidham. Jared Stidham was the quarterback of that team, who just was the Broncos' great Jared Stidham was the QB on that team. And they also had Malik Willis as a backup quarterback.
Oh, okay.
And Kerryon Johnson.
Oh, Kerryon. Yep.
Darius Slayton of the Giants. All those guys were on.
I keep forgetting about Kerryon. He's the forgotten line.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Like Javid Best.
Man, Javid. Like that guy could have been so good.
Who's the guy who played for the Raiders a little bit? The little guy with the A. He went to Nebraska. Amir Abdullah.
Amir Abdullah. He's still in the league, I think.
Is he? That's good. You'd think he'd get hurt. He was not he was a slight gentleman.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, undefeated. That's crazy to go from 0-12 to 13-0 in 2 seasons. So now I got some funny ones though. Rory McIlroy. In May of 2014, he called off his engagement. I guess they were never married.
Okay.
Called off his engagement to tennis player Caroline Wozniacki in May of the spring of 2014. He promptly won 3 consecutive golf tournaments, including the British Open and the PGA Championship after calling off his wedding. Additionally, Caroline broke her slump and reached the U.S. Open finals that year as well. So they did so much better.
Talk about not meant to be.
Right.
Like they made each other worse.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You would think they would make each other better, but they made each other worse.
It's both
amicable.
It goes both ways. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes, it's a fickle thing.
It's a fickle thing.
All right, what else you got?
Any other divorces you got there?
Oh, yeah, okay. You want some more? Okay.
Yeah.
In November 2010, Tony Parker and Eva Longoria divorced. And Tony increased his scoring, his basketball scoring, by 1.5 points a game. His assists went up 1 point a game. This doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
And he led the San Antonio Spurs to a 61-21 record, which was good for the best in the NBA. And Eva, it's not just the men that get better. The women sometimes get better in these situations. She went on to become the highest paid actress in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I should have looked up some where it's like the other way. Like they got better. Like they got married they got married and then both people got better at things. That'd be good too. I didn't get to that because I'm sure that happens a lot too. Where like a player isn't very good, he's going along, and then he gets married and boom, like David Blau, maybe he married that sprinter.
Yeah,
maybe he got better.
You got to be a better coach. You got a great coaching job.
Yeah, he's offensive coordinator
for the Commanders.
Yeah, what a great. He was a quarterbacks coach or something.
Yeah, and I mean, he just retired. Like he was just in the Lions roster 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was on the practice squad or whatever. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, those are kind of my biggies.
Yeah.
I like those.
Those are good. Man, I'm trying to think of. I had a relationship one, and I can't think what it was now.
Oh, of like some celebrities.
Yeah. Oh, this could probably be just a show topic. If you're an athlete and you date a Kardashian, your career's on fire.
Oh, like Chris Humphries.
Lamar done.
Odom.
Crackhead.
Really?
Yeah. Like literally, he got caught doing crack while playing for the Lakers because, married to Khloe Kardashian.
Wow. Yeah. I think there's
Ben Simmons.
Oh, I didn't know about
Ben Simmons was dating. Poor Ben, man.
That guy
just drops off.
He was supposed to be. I remember hearing about him. He was supposed to be like the greatest, like when he was in high school, the greatest player ever, and all this. And he couldn't really shoot very good.
And then his confidence was ruined. But I would like to chalk it up to Kardashians. I think the Kardashians actually ruined his career because then I saw like Blake Griffin. Remember, Blake Griffin had such a good year for the Pistons. That 1 year, he had he was like MVP candidate. He was an all-star. We were winning games. He averaged like 30 points a game. It was his best year in his career, even though his athleticism was gone because he got the jumper. And then at the very end of the season, he started dating one of the Kardashians, and he never really played again. Like he was out he was injured for our whole entire playoffs. We obviously lost in the first round, and then he was a bench warmer the next couple of years of his career. I think he played for the Celtics, and he averaged less than 5 points a game.
I was just looking at Ben Simmons. He had some his first year he didn't play because he was hurt. Then he had played 81 games for the Philly. Then he was a 3-time All-Star, but he played 57, 58 games, and then he got hurt again. He was he was doing a holdout and he hurt his back, and then he played a couple years with Brooklyn, and then he actually played last year a little bit with the Clippers. He
played last year?
Yeah, 24-25. He played for the Clippers and Brooklyn. He played 51 games actually, which is like a lot for him.
Last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he averaged 5 points a game.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's about 5 points a game.
And he's not even a very good free throw shooter. No. His free throw percentage is .592.
Ooh. Wow. I feel like it was better with the year that he had with the Pistons. The 1 year. No, he was with the Pistons for 2 years. We traded.
Who?
Blake Griffin. He was with them for a year.
I'm talking about Ben Simmons, though.
Oh, Ben Simmons. Simmons is a horrible free throw shooter. Oh my God. .592. .592. Yeah. He's always been a horrible free throw shooter.
Yeah. 14% from three. 14%.
And now I think he's constantly battling back issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the back issues. Yep. Yeah. We were talking about not playing very many games. Blake Griffin's in the same type of guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.